How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather SpongeBob 1000, and in this video, we're going to determine the probability each area along the Atlantic coast will experience a landfalling hurricane within a 50-mile radius. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see even more weather-related content on this channel. But let's first take a look at the CFS computer model, the climatology model. So one of the key things we're going to need to check out is the exact track of where a lot of these tropical cyclones will gravitate towards, because that plays, of course, a big role in terms of where exactly tropical cyclones will make landfall along the Atlantic coast. And one way to determine the exact track of hurricanes and tropical cyclones in general for the Atlantic hurricane season is determining where exactly the ridging will build, or the average amount of ridging will build for the main parts of the hurricane season. So if we were to take a look at that, the geopotential height anomaly right around where the millibar, at the area where the millibar pressure is at 500 millibars, you see that we're expecting a little bit more ridging overall for a lot of the northern Atlantic, especially right in the center of the northern Atlantic, where we do see the height anomaly a little bit above average, which represents that there's a little bit more ridging than average, because in this area the temperatures are a little bit warmer in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, which represents that there's a high amount of short-wave radiation from the sun hitting the surface, which is allowing the temperatures to be a little bit higher, and as a result the height anomaly to be a little bit higher, which shows that there's a ridge in this area. So however, we do see a little bit of a weakness in ridging right around the eastern half of the United States, which certainly isn't good news, because if we do see a weakness in ridging build right around the eastern half of the United States, that will pretty much be an open gateway for a lot of hurricanes to make landfall along the United States coast. But for the month of August, based on what the CFS model is forecasting, it is expecting the ridging to be a little bit weaker for a lot of the eastern half of the United States. So as a result, I do expect a little bit more hurricane landfalls this year for the United States, because we're seeing so much ridging here that we're not seeing enough ridging in this area, which will allow tropical cyclones to move into this area, because of course hurricane or tropical cyclone can't really move into an area where the pressure is a little bit too high, or the air is a little bit too stable. So it will gravitate towards where the air pressure is lower, where it could easily continue its convection, and that happens to be right around the eastern half of the United States, where we're seeing more a little bit more troughing, and the air pressure a little bit lower for hurricanes to gravitate towards this area. So I do expect more hurricane landfalls as a result of this, potentially for the month of August. And if we were to continue to move forward, you see that the weakness in ridging continues for a lot of the eastern half of the United States, and we still do see that very strong Bermuda ridge located right around the middle of the northern Atlantic. And so I do expect potentially more tropical cyclones to move northward like this, because the ridge is a little bit because the ridging is a little bit focused in more eastward, which would mean that tropical cyclones will move more eastward and will likely turn northward a little bit more eastward than, let's say, the Gulf of Mexico. So I think there's a higher probability that we will see storms move potentially up the east coast, potentially into the northeast, or we could, however, see a lot of fish storms as well, where they don't necessarily affect the United States east coast, which is certainly a possibility, which is definitely the more hopeful case. But as a result of this weakness in ridging we're seeing along the eastern half of the United States, right around the east coast, and this ridge that's a little bit further eastward, I do think that we could see an influx of more hurricanes moving northward into the northeast now for this hurricane season. Now, taking a look at the sea surface temperature anomaly, this is another important factor when determining the exact track of tropical cyclones, and you're probably wondering why. Well, the reason why is because in the areas where the sea surface temperatures are warmer than average, there's more likely of a chance that the air is a lot less stable, the air molecules are in a warmer environment as a result of warmer than average sea surface temperatures, which will promote more lift as a result of the lack of stability right over the area where the air temperature and the sea surface temperatures are a little bit warmer than average. However, in the sea where the sea surface temperatures are cooler than average, the air is a little bit more stable and the air is more dense as a result of a lack of temperature of warm temperatures, which allows the air molecules to stick together more, and which means that the air molecules will produce less work that converts into temperature, which will promote more of a sinking motion right around where the sea surface temperatures are cooler than average. And if we were to base where the ridge will be located based on that ideology, we should expect a little bit more ridging right around this area where the sea surface temperatures are quite cooler than average as of right now, and we should see a little bit more troughs right around where the sea surface temperatures are warmer than average, and as a result, more tropical cyclone development in the areas where the sea surface temperatures are warmer than average. And you see those areas include the Gulf of Mexico, a large portion of the East Coast, and of course a very large portion of the northern Atlantic, which is, for a lot of tropical cyclones, it's the out of bounds area, so it doesn't have as major of an effect, but it still has a major it still could play a role, because if we do see a little bit more troughing in this area, we're more likely to see the ridging be a little bit further southward. And since we're seeing warmer than average sea surface temperatures right around the western Atlantic, then that would mean that there's going to be more troughs in this area, less ridging, which would allow more tropical cyclones to move towards the east coast thanks to the warmer than average sea surface temperatures, creating a lower air pressure overall this hurricane season for hurricanes to gravitate towards or to really develop in the warmer than average sea surface temperature areas. So as a result of this as well, I do expect more hurricanes to potentially make landfall this year for a lot of the United States coasts, and more sickly the northern portion, potentially the northeast, as well as the east coast, where the ridging is expected to be the weakest in this area, and we could see more tropical cyclones move northward as a result of this and develop further northward. So taking a look at what the CFS model is forecasting when it comes to sea surface temperature anomaly over the next several months, we do see that the warmer than average sea surface temperatures will continue for a lot of the western half of the Atlantic, where I do expect a little bit more troughing and more ridging in this area. So I do expect more hurricane landfalls as a result. Now, another thing I want to show you guys is my Bermuda high forecast, which I made a couple of weeks ago. Like I said, I do expect more tropical cyclones to move northward as a result of a ridge that's a little bit further eastward, which would allow tropical cyclones to move further northward, potentially closer along the east coast. So the northeast and the southeast might need to pay attention to more tropical cyclones this year as a result of a lack of ridging in this area. And another thing I want to show you guys is the fact that it is expected to be a more active than usual hurricane season as a result of a multitude of factors. You could check my recent hurricane season forecast I made a couple weeks ago for more information on that. But long story short, we're expecting around a La Nina phase, which does promote more tropical cyclone development, more lift in the Atlantic, and also we're in a positive multi-decadal oscillation, which does promote warmer than average sea surface temperatures for more tropical cyclones to develop, and a variety of different factors as well. So as a result of more of hurricanes than usual that's expected this hurricane season, more landfall should be expected as well, and it will only be compounded by the fact that we're expecting more troughs along the western Atlantic, which will gravitate hurricanes towards the United States more. So I based on my forecast based on the historical data of the frequency of when hurricanes make landfall within a 50-mile radius, and we do see that the areas that receives the most landfalls in the United States over the past several hundred years or over the past several decades, we do see that the areas such as North Carolina, southern Florida, as well as the southeastern portion of Louisiana. Those are the areas most synonymous with hurricane landfalls, where we typically do see at least one hurricane landfall at least once every 5, 6, or 7 years. So it's pretty frequent you do experience a landfalling hurricane, as typically speaking, it's around a 20% chance every year you will experience a landfalling hurricane in those areas. However, I do expect the chance to rise for pretty much the entire United States coast this year, thanks to the reasons I just mentioned. So I do expect the chance to rise more to like a 30% chance right around the outer banks of North Carolina, southern Florida, and potentially southern Louisiana. And we do see that for the Northeast, it's a little bit more rare. We typically see a landfalling hurricane every maybe 15 to 20 years, so it is a little bit more rare, but I do expect a chance to significantly increase this hurricane season as a result of a variety of different factors I just mentioned. And taking a look at the Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation, we do see that we're in a positive phase, which will promote warmer than average sea surface temperatures further northward. So I think the Northeast will get more involved with landfalling hurricanes this hurricane season potentially. So we'll have at least a higher probability of landfalling hurricanes further northward. So if I were to show you guys my forecast when it comes to the probability of a hurricane landfall in each area of the coast within a 50-mile radius. So for the southern coast of Texas, I'm expecting right around 10% chance of a hurricane making landfall this year. It is a little bit lower towards southern Texas because it's typically rare to see hurricanes take this angle towards Texas, where we do see more ridging just to the north of it to steer it westward without wind shear deterring it. However, there's still a higher probability of a hurricane landfall towards southern Texas. 15% right around the Houston area, 20% right around New Orleans, 15% right around the panhandle of Florida, extending towards Tampa. And you see that I'm expecting a very high 30 to 20% right around southern Florida, as the warmer than average sea surface temperatures will promote more hurricanes to develop around the southern Florida area. So definitely stay on high alert right around southern Florida. 10% chance right around the northern coast of Florida and Georgia, where it's typically rare again to see hurricanes take this angle towards Georgia. The only one that really comes in mind was, of course, Hurricane Hugo back in 1989, but it's been a while since then. And you see that the chance steadily increases once you head further northward of Charleston, South Carolina, where it increases from 15% to 20% right around Myrtle Beach to a high 30% chance of a hurricane landfall right around Cape Hatteras, as you guys typically do experience hurricane landfalls most frequently out of the entire Atlantic coast of the United States. So and I do think the chance will be enhanced this hurricane season. 15% chance for the Delmar Peninsula extending into New Jersey and Long Island, and then a 5% chance just north of Boston, where it's very rare to see a hurricane make landfall right around Maine or just north of Boston, where it's very rare to see the hurricane go that specific angle, where it only happens once a lifetime at times. So as a result, I do expect the chance to be very low further northward. So this is my hurricane landfall forecast for the United States. If you want even more in detail forecasts regarding the probability a hurricane will make landfall within 50 miles of your location, just comment your location or area down below, and I'll make sure to give you guys a more in-depth, in detail probability of a hurricane making landfall within 50 miles of your location. So make sure to comment down below if you're interested. But anyways, guys, I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content, and I hope you guys all have a great day.